This is Chris with Darius. Like, subscribe to TNW Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris with Darius, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both my TikToks. I'll be down there in the description box. And I'm here to do my AEW Dynamite December 21st, 2022 reviews. So here we go, discussing about Dynamite. Now we kick off the show with Ricky Starks. He comes out there to speak about the situation, about what happened last week on Dynamite with his match against MJF for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. And he said that he knows he came pretty close by beating MJF, and MJF had cheat to win the match and all that stuff. So yeah, he said he knew all that, but he said it ain't going to be an issue because he'll work his way back to the top of the ladder, and then face MJF and beat him for the world title and become the face of AEW. That's what Ricky Starks was saying. So yeah, it was an amazing babyface promo from Ricky Starks. But then he gets interrupted by Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Daniel Garcia, the Jericho Appreciation Society. They interrupt him, and Jericho starts talking about Ricky Starks, talking about, yeah, you came pretty close, but you can see what could have made you win the world title if you would have got some advice from me. You just need a little bit of Chris Jericho in your life. So yeah, that's what Jericho was saying. And then he says that, he wants Ricky Starks to join the Jericho Appreciation Society. And then obviously Ricky Starks said no, and he starts roasting Jericho, talking about like, look at you, you look pretty good now, but a few months ago you was looking like an air fryer. And then he said that you like somebody's single dad and all that stuff. So yeah, he starts roasting Jericho. Jericho kind of gets upset. He goes like, well, you all better always watch your back or something like that. And then Jake Hager comes up attacking Ricky Starks from behind. So yeah, that's what happened there. They started attacking him. Jericho and them gets in the ring, starts beating him down and stuff. And they was going to use the baseball bat onto Ricky Starks up until we see Action Andretti coming out, saving Ricky Starks, brawling with the Jericho Appreciation Society. Ricky Starks and Andretti was brawling with them, and then they managed to get down the JAS, and then we see the split-legged moonsault from Action Andretti onto Chris Jericho, laying him out. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good stuff, and not only that, Ricky Starks challenges Chris Jericho to a match on January 4th on Dynamite. So yeah, that's what Ricky Starks did. But yeah, many stuff coming on for Dynamite for tonight. Hook will be in action. We'll hear from Bryan Danielson, MJF, and all that stuff. FTR is in action against the Gun Club. But up next, we'll be seeing the first match of the night. It will be the Elite versus Death Triangle in the 6-man tag team match in the 5th match of the Best of 7 series. But this match will be no disqualification. So yeah, that'll be the first match of the night, and it'll be up next. But like I said, great segment to kick off Dynamite. But yeah, up next, the 6-man tag match. See you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was the first match of the night. It was Kenny Omega, Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, the Elite, versus the AEW World Trios Tag Team Champions, Pac, Rey Fenix, and Penta El Zero Miedo, Death Triangle in a 6-man tag team match. Now, this is the 5th match of the Best of 7 series, and this match will be no disqualification. So, yeah, it was a pretty good match. It was going back and forth. We see Brandon Cutler getting involved and all that stuff. At one point, they had tables. At one point, we see Kenny Omega bringing in trash cans and a broom with barbed wire onto it and all that stuff. Kept on slamming Rey Fenix onto the barbed wire broom. Near falls a few times, and it looks like both teams was going to win this match. At one point, we see Matt Jackson hitting a elbow drop off the top turnbuckle onto Penta through a table, and then after that, Nick Jackson hits a swanton onto Pac through a table. So yeah, we see Death Triangle getting taken out by that. So yeah, like I said, it was going back and forth, and like Rey Fenix was trying to roll up Kenny Omega at one point, but Omega barely kicking out at 2. But then at one point we see Death Triangle, all 3 of them getting submissions locked on to the Elite up until Matt Jackson had break out of the submission, beating down Penta, and then he goes and breaks up the submission for Nick, and then breaks up for Kenny Omega and stuff. But then we get to the very ending where we see Omega hitting the Dragon Suplex onto Rey Fenix, and then we see the Young Bucks bringing in a steel chair. We've seen the Young Bucks hitting the Meltzer driver onto Rey Fenix, onto the steel chair, laying him out, and then we see Pac trying to get back into the ring, but Kenny Omega was blocking him off, and they got the 3 count. So yeah, the Elite defeated Death Triangle tonight in a no disqualification match. That's what happened. Really good match. If you have yet, go check it out. Really great no disqualification match. For that match, I'll give it 3.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. But yep, next week we'll go to the 6th match, or not next week. I think it'll be next week. I don't know. I gotta look back and see. But eventually we'll have them facing off again. But the next match will be a Falls Count Anywhere match, and then the 7th match will be a ladder match for the tag titles. So yeah, that's what's going to be happening. Pretty good stuff. Like I said, for that match, I'll give it 3.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. But then after that, we see a video package from MJF talking last week after his match. He was talking about how Bryan Danielson stuck his nose into his match and how he won clean and all that stuff, and he's going to beat down Bryan Danielson for that. So yeah, that's what MJF said. Really good stuff. But yep, that's what happened there. Still to come. Later on tonight, we'll see Jamie Hayter defending the AEW Women's World Championship against Toni Storm. Oh no, Hikaru Ishida. My fault. Later on tonight for the women's title. So yeah, that match is still to come. Later on tonight, many more stuff. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So, the next thing to happen on AEW Dynamite now, before I talk about the next segment with Bryan Danielson, there was a segment backstage where actually Andretti was getting interviewed by Tony Schiavone, and he starts talking about the Jericho Appreciation Society, how he had Ricky Stark's back and all that stuff, fighting alongside with him against Jericho Appreciation Society and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what actually Andretti was talking about, up until he gets interrupted with his interview by Angelo Parker and Matt Menard. So yeah, they come up interrupting him, and Action was ready to fight him, but they said, no, we're not here to fight, but we ain't gonna lie, you been on fire lately. And then all of a sudden, Action turns around, he gets blasted in the face with a fireball by Chris Jericho. So yeah, Jericho laying him out with the fireball backstage. That's what happened there. And then we get to the next segment. We see Renee Paquette in the ring. She introduces Bryan Danielson. Danielson comes down. She starts interviewing him, talking about William Regal and stuff and the Blackpool Combat Club. And he goes like, I hope the Blackpool Combat Club accepts my apology and all that stuff. But he said that he knew William Regal for a long time. Everybody knows that he got trained by Shawn Michaels, but William Regal was the one that put him underneath his wing to make him become one of the best professional wrestlers and stuff. So yeah, that's what Bryan Danielson said. He said he thought he lost William Regal a few weeks ago, but he's so glad he did it. But yeah, that's what Bryan Danielson was saying. While he was saying that, we see MJF watching the segment backstage. Well, they show him watching it like at the very ending of the segment, really. But yeah, he was back there watching. And then Bryan Danielson gets interrupted by Ethan Page and Stokely Hathaway. Stokely was talking about Bryan Danielson, talking junk to him, and Bryan Danielson starts talking junk back to him. To I can't see you with that bald head of yours shining bright in my face and all that stuff. And then Ethan Page was really wanting to fight Bryan Danielson, calling him a vegetable and all that, how he'll make him into a vegetable. And Bryan Danielson was like, okay, if you want to, let's go ahead and fight. Come on down here. And Ethan Page was looking like he was ready to fight, and then he goes like, nah, we'll wait until next week, and then I'll make you into a vegetable. So yeah, that's what Ethan Page said. So yeah, it looks like next week we're going to be seeing Bryan Danielson versus Ethan Page. That's what the match looks like. So yeah, that's what happened there, and then they showed MJF watching it. And then after that, we see Jon Moxley talking backstage, and he was talking about how he's going to be in that $300,000 Christmas Battle Royale this Friday on Rampage. And then he goes like, yeah, that means, you know where I'm at, Hangman Adam Page. So you can come and find me if you want to, and we can continue fighting and all that stuff. But don't be blaming me that you got knocked out a few weeks ago. You signed up for it, and you got knocked out. And you know what? And then he starts talking about Darius Martin, talking about how he got a match against him. He's a great talent and all that stuff. But, he became injury prone where he blew out his knee and got in a car wreck and all that stuff. And he says that tonight he's going to be the teacher and teach him a lesson. So yeah, that's what Jon Moxley said. But yep, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was a one-on-one match. But before I talk about that match, we gotta talk about one segment now. We see Samoa Joe, pretty much, he introduces himself as the television champion and all that for Ring of Honor and TNT champion and all that stuff. And he tells everybody that he hopes that everybody has happy holidays, Merry Christmas and all that. But he said he wants to send a message to Warlord talking about how he hopes that he has a happy holiday and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what Samoa Joe was saying and stuff. Pretty good stuff though. But then after that, we see the next one-on-one match. It was Hook versus Exodius Prime. I think that's his name. We get the match underway. Hook obviously dominating, beating him down, hitting suplexes and all that. And then obviously at the ending, he locks in the Taz mission onto him, that sleeper hold onto Prime, and then makes him tap out. So yeah, Hook won the match tonight on Dynamite. That's what happened. For that match, I'll give it 1 star. That's why I'll give it. It was pretty quick and stuff, obviously. So yeah, that's what happened there. And then after the match ended, we see a segment that's going on backstage where we see Stokely Hathaway. He's calling out Hook. He's on the big screen and all that. Hook is staring at him, and then we see in the background that Big Bill and Lee Moriarty's attacking Jungle Boy, beating him down and stuff. And then we see Big Bill hitting a chokeslam onto Jungle Boy into the dumpster, and then they threw trash on him. So yeah, that's what happened there. And then Hook gets out the ring and he starts walking backstage. But yep, that's what happened there. Pretty good stuff for that match. Like I said, I give it 1 star. That's why I'll give it. But up next, we got the next match. It'll be Jon Moxley with Claudio Castagnoli versus Darius Martin, one-on-one, up next on Dynamite. So yeah, that match is going to be happening up next. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on AEW Dynamite, it was a one-on-one match. It was Jon Moxley with the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion Claudio Castagnoli versus Darius Martin with Dante Martin of Top Flight. So yeah, Darius Martin versus Jon Moxley one-on-one. It was an okay match. Moxley was manhandling him majority of the time. At one point, Moxley got face-to-face with Dante Martin at one point outside the ring because Moxley and Darius was brawling through the crowd and stuff. But then we get to the ending where Moxley starts taking control of this match, got that headlock locked onto him, that sleeper hold, that bulldog onto him, and then he starts laying in some elbows and stuff onto Darius. Darius is trying to fight back, but at the ending, he hits the paradigm shift onto Darius Martin, which he changed the name. Is the Death Rider now, I think it's called. So yeah, Jon Moxley defeated Darius Martin tonight on Dynamite. That's what happened. It was a pretty good one-on-one match between those two guys, but I'll give it 2 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was an okay match. So yeah, that's why I give that match. Pretty good stuff though, but still to come later on tonight on Dynamite. Still many more stuff. And they had a video package showing for the Women's World Title match, which that match will be happening tonight in the main event. Jamie Hayter defending the AEW World Women's Championship up against Hikaru Shida, one-on-one later on tonight on Dynamite, and many more stuff. Up next, we'll be seeing FTR versus the Gun Club in the tag team match up next on Dynamite. So yeah, that match will be happening up next, and many more stuff. But yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So the next thing to happen on AEW Dynamite, it was a tag team match. It was the IWGP and AAA Tag Team Champions, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, FTR, versus Austin and Colton, the Guns, in a tag team non-title match. And it was an okay match. It was going back and forth in multiple points. At the ending, we see Austin Gunn locking on the sharpshooter onto Dax, trying to make him tap out, but Dax fought out of it. Cash Wheeler was having a hard time outside the ring, brawling and stuff with Colton, I think it was. But then we get to the ending where Dax punches Austin in the face. He turns Austin around, pushes him to the ropes, rolling him up, pinning him. 1, 2. Austin rolls back through with a pin onto Dax, pinning him. But the referee didn't see it. Colton was grabbing Austin's hand and stuff, giving him leverage for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, the Guns defeated FTR tonight in the tag team match. That's what happened. For that match, I'll give it 2 stars. That's why I'll give it. So yeah, FTR lost to the Guns tonight. But then, after that match, we see a rap from Sanjay Dutt. Yeah, he's rapping, and in the video, you see Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh and stuff. So yeah, that's what was going on there. He's saying that the Acclaim sucks and all that stuff. But yep, that's what happened there. But still to come later on tonight in the main event, it will be the AEW Women's Champion, Jamie Hayter, versus Hikaru Shida, one-on-one for the AEW Women's Championship in the main event. And not only that, we'll see Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland with Rick Ross. They're out there going face-to-face. So yeah, that segment will be happening up next, actually, with Tony Schiavone and Rick Ross in the ring. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. Now, yeah, we got the next segment. Let's go ahead and run through it, and I'll go ahead and talk about it, and I'll give you my thoughts after. So let's just do that. So we kick off the segment with Tony Schiavone. He's in the ring with Rick Ross, and they introduce Keith Lee. Keith Lee comes out, and, Keith Lee's just waiting for Swerve Strickland to come out as well, and Rick Ross announces Swerve. And Swerve does not come out yet, and then Rick Ross turns around and said this on the mic, which was pretty funny, and obviously it's not scripted because they would have blurred it out like how they did with MJF, where they blurred the cuss words out and all that. They didn't do that with Rick Ross, so everything that Rick Ross, I guess, was saying was not scripted, and he looks at Keith Lee and he goes like, "You're a big motherfucker," and then you could just see on Keith Lee's face, he's laughing and stuff, and he turns around and you just see on his face looking like, "Ah, crap, should have never said that." So yeah, that's what Rick Ross said to Keith Lee right there. And you can see on Tony Schiavone's face going, "Oh God, don't be saying this on TV." So yeah, and even the announcers like Taz going like, "We need to do some stuff with Rick Ross's mic and stuff like that." So yeah, just pretty funny stuff. And then Swerve finally makes his way down, and he goes like he comes out on his time, not Keith Lee's time, and all that stuff. And then he tells Keith Lee that he needs to watch his back and everything, and that he needs to watch himself with his health and all that stuff. But he definitely needs to watch his back. And then all of a sudden we see Parker Budo attack Keith Lee from behind. Is Holland from NXT. He comes up attacking him from behind, throws Keith Lee outside of the ring, and he's beating him down and stuff. And then Keith Lee finally starts beating him down, and then Keith Lee starts walking up to Swerve Strickland up until another guy attacks Keith Lee. He's all tatted up like on the face and everything. We don't know his name. He's beating down Keith Lee. Parker comes up, beating him down as well, and then they lay him on the steel steps. Swerve climbs up the top turnbuckle. They grab the cinder block, put it on Keith Lee's chest, and Swerve jumps off the top turnbuckle with a double foot stomp onto Keith Lee with the cinder block on his chest while Keith Lee's laying on the steel steps, and they broke the cinder block. So I guess Swerve Strickland's feet is that deadly, just like Seth Rollins, I guess. But yep, that's what happened. This segment was definitely not the best. But yep, that's what happened there. That's Dynamite right there. But we still got one more match. It'll be up next. It'll be the main event. It'll be Hikaru Shida versus Jamie Hayter for the AEW Women's Championship. And that match will be happening up next in the main event. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was the main event. It was the AEW Women's Champion Jamie Hayter with Britt Baker and Rebel at ringside versus Hikaru Shida one-on-one for the AEW Women's Championship. This match was a pretty good match. We see a suplex off the ring apron and stuff like that. But we get to the ending where we see Jamie Hayter rolling up Hikaru. Hikaru kicked out at 2, and then she lifted her up again, hitting a powerbomb onto her, pinning her, but Shida kicked out at 2 again, and then that's when Jamie Hayter runs to the ropes, hitting a massive lariat onto Hikaru Shida, pins her, 1, 2, Hikaru Shida kicked out at 2 again. Jamie Hayter was surprised. She gets up, lifts Hikaru Shida up, and then hits another clothesline onto her, and then finally pins her for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Jamie Hayter defeated Hikaru Shida tonight on Dynamite and has retained the AEW Women's Championship. That's what happened. Really good match. For that match, I'll give it 3 stars. That's why I'll give it. Really good one, though. But yeah, then after the match ended, we see Britt Baker and them attacking Hikaru Shida after the match, and then Toni Storm comes running down to help Hikaru Shida, but then she gets beaten down and stuff, and then we see Saraya making her way down to the ring. She starts running down there, Rebel gets out the ring, and then she gets hit with the clothesline outside of the ring. So Saraya gets into the ring, hitting a kick to the face onto Britt Baker, and Jamie Hayter quickly got out of the ring. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good match and stuff. Like I said, for the match, I give it 3 stars. But for tonight's AEW Dynamite, I gotta give it 6.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. The main event was pretty good. Match of the night for me was the Elite versus Death Triangle. And Ricky Stark's segment was pretty good with Jericho and stuff, and Bryan Danielson's too. Stuff like that. But then you got that segment with Keith Lee, and yeah. Which in some of the matches wasn't the best, you know. But yeah, that was AEW Dynamite. Like, subscribe to TNW Wrestling on YouTube. Subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris. And subscribe to this channel, Chris Videos. And follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. It'll all be down there in the description box. And yeah, I'll see you guys later for this Friday Night SmackDown reviews. See you guys later. Until then.